Hello, welcome to another short video on the restoration of my 74 Etype. I'm doing the carburetors today, trying to get the final adjustments right. I've been running it and I took it for a little drive up the lane and back. And when it came back and it was hot and right up to temperature, I couldn't get it to tick over under about 1200 RPM. Did all the adjustments by the book, checked for air leaks, all the usual, couldn't find a reason. Now the carburetors have been stripped. I've put all new jets, rubbers, everything, right, a complete kit, diaphragms, the whole lot through them, so they should be okay. And the problem that I found was on the A bank number 2 carburetor, when I rebuilt it, I hadn't quite centralised the butterfly that's held on the throttle shaft by 2 screws. And what was happening, it was slightly offset. And when the carburetor's shut back, this one wasn't closing properly. So I've taken them all apart and readjusted the butterflies. Set them all up, and now looking by eye, they both shut back as they should do. Now what I got to do now obviously is the synchronization. Now as I said before, I've done it by the book and couldn't get it quite right. Now I don't know if you can see it, but it's very difficult. This nut here operates the throttle linkage from carburetor 1 to carburetor 2, and it's vital that you get the adjustments right. So with your stops here, shut them right off so that they're not touching your butterfly lever at all. And then you've got to adjust this one. I hope you can see it, it's a bit difficult. This one here, so that when you open the throttle, both the butterflies move simultaneously and at equal distance. Once you've got that setting right on both sides, you've then got to synchronize the 2 carburetors. Now that can be a little bit difficult. Now the best way that I found to do it is when you twist your throttle wheel is to stand above the car, and as you bring the throttle on, you've got to check both sides that they're just beginning to open. You get a bit of free movement. If you can see that there, that's free movement. Now that, I assume, is to allow when everything gets hot that you've got a little bit of free play. So you've got to keep doing this. Now on the arms here you've got 2 threads. It's a bit like a track rod end on the steering, and this allows the difference between this one and this one to be adjusted. So you screw it in and out, checking your movement, and then when you get it right and you're happy with it, you set your lock nuts up and free it up. The next thing to do is to get the engine hot, and then on number 1 carburetor you screw the thing down until it's just beginning to tick over at the correct speed. Screw it down clockwise until it brings the butterfly on, and then on number 2 carburetor you screw this one down until it just starts to raise the rev slightly, and then you bring it back, and that should then synchronize these 2 on the first stage. The same on the other side, exactly the same procedure. Screw number 1 down until it just brings the revs up slightly, set it to the correct revs, bring number 2 carburetor up until it just increases the revs, and then set it back until the car's ticking over even. Now you can buy air meters to plug into the carburetors to check the airflow. If you don't have one of those, the easiest way to do it is to get a small piece of hose pipe, and with the car ticking over, and put it to your ear and check each carburetor. Your ears are quite accurate, and you'll soon get a feel if one's a little bit louder than the other. And if they are, don't adjust them on these screws because that's just your throttle stop. What you need to do is fine adjustment on the spring-loaded screw between the two carburetors to get all four exactly the same sound in your ear. And then all you need to do then is to blip the throttle a few times and then walk round and check with your ear again. If you've got one carburetor slightly louder than the other, you need to reset your center one very slightly up or down until they balance. It takes a long time. It takes about an hour to get everything right, but it's well worth it. And then the engine, you know, these V12s, they're crisp and they sound nice when they're all balanced up. Now, one other little thing I just wanted to discuss with you. When I came back from the last road test, I thought I heard a very, very slight misfire, a chuffing noise, and I thought, it's difficult to pick up with a V12 because they're so smooth that even with a full misfire, you sometimes don't really notice it. Anyway, to cut a long story short, I did a compression test and number 2B was slightly down. Whereas when I originally did the test, they were all 160, 165 within a couple of pound of each other. Now on the V12, you're quite lucky because you've got your induction manifold here. If you take that off, which is quite simple, you can actually see into your valves. And what had happened, a small piece of carbon that I must have missed when I decoked it, was stuck on top of the inlet valve. So gradually with a small screwdriver, I just managed to free it, blow it out with an airline, bolt it all back together, and it's gone. It runs absolutely perfectly. So that's a little tip for you. Okay, I'm going to get all the air filters on now and start him up and go through the procedure that I've just discussed. I hope that's helpful for you, and as usual, thanks for watching. I'll catch you on the next one. Bye bye now.